Hello, my name is Jacob White, and today I'll be discussing my project and findings from my Introduction to Geographic Information Systems class. My project was Albuquerque Green Space, Accessibility and Equity. The introduction and motivations for this project was accessibility and equability of green space should be a major factor in forming personal choices, as well as guiding government decision-making and local and regional planning efforts. Some of the objectives for this project was to assess the accessibility of green space in Albuquerque, primarily via walking, and how it relates to current environmental justice and social justice concerns and outcomes in Albuquerque. Initially, for my project, I wanted to examine both open space and parks, but after deciding that open space wasn't distributed in an equitable fashion across Albuquerque, but more so based on geographic features such as the foothills of the Sandias, the bosque of our river, and also the petroglyphs. The intention of this project is to highlight how proximity to places shouldn't always just be based on linear distances away from physical features, but grounded in real life scenarios in the built environment. For this project, I decided to use the Climate and Economic Justice Screening tool. The CEGST uses information from a variety of sources that considers over 100 different factors relating to climate change, energy, health, housing, legacy, pollution, transportation, wastewater, and workforce development. The information from these categories was then used to identify specific census tracts as overburdened communities, and this is particularly important for climate change adaptation, and also looking at communities that have historically been underinvested in. Some of the methods for my project that I used was using data from the city of Albuquerque, such as the city boundaries, the parks, and roads data. I then used all my data sources and compiled the data and analyzed them by sorting through the attribute data for parks and narrowing down the CEJST data to Albuquerque only. All census tracts that met one or more of the criteria of an overburdened community were then analyzed for accessibility to green space within a half-mile range, representing a 1-mile trip commute to green space. As part of this analysis, I performed several GIS analyses, but the most impactful one for determining and getting the results that I wanted was the vector network analysis, looking at the service area of parks and using the half-mile distance as the parameter. My findings were of Albuquerque's 292 parks, 25 features were excluded from this analysis for open public access, such as because they were either golf courses or were parks that were at schools that may not be considered public open access all the time. And of this, I found that 145 parks were within a half-mile service area of an overburdened census tract or were located within one. So this map here just depicts one of the specific areas that I decided to focus on for this video. So this is a map of the International District that is comprised of a couple different census tracts. All the census tracts that are in the International District do meet the threshold for being an overburdened census tract. But this just shows some of the analysis and the results from the analysis that I performed, depicting the service area of some of the parks that are within the International District and census tracts falling within them, and then also parks that are outside of this International District as well. So just looking at the comparison between the service area analysis and the buffer analysis, it's evident that the buffer analysis overshoots some of these areas by a significant amount in some cases, especially in areas where you're not don't have as gridded of city patterns in development, in roads that are more like mazes, kind of like suburbs. So you would probably expect to have more overshoot in those areas. So this just like highlights the importance of performing a service area analysis instead, showing the true distance to features such as parks and other things. And this is just my acknowledgement slide. And this slide just gives a snapshot of the entire scope of my project in Albuquerque. Thank you for listening.